Hello everybody, I'm Alexander Rubian with the New Jersey Second Amendment Society. Today we're here with Marcus Hirschhorn. He is our resident technical expert with firearms. Just wanted to give everyone a quick update. Marcus attended some meetings with us today with leadership and some politicians from New Jersey to discuss upcoming gun bills and issues of that nature that affect Second Amendment rights, as well as gun owners in New Jersey. So Marcus, what were your thoughts? What do you think we could do in supporting the Second Amendment and helping our legislators better understand what's going on in our state?
It's an interesting question. It's a good question. I think the biggest thing to say to our members, to the people who are going to be watching this video, because we know who our audience is and more importantly who our audience is not, is don't hit them over the head with all the facts just because you're right. Take it slowly. If I hit you with a million things of information you don't know, your brain is going to reject it whether you want to or not. So take it slowly. Start off with one thing that's real easy. Don't say, you know, Second Amendment shall not be infringed, because you're not helping anyone. You know, they shut down completely. Just say to them, you know, hey, what do you feel about this one thing? Pick one topic, and then don't let them stray off that topic. And whatever you do, don't let yourself stray off of that topic. Pick one topic, something a little more mundane. Don't immediately start going into, we should all be able to carry machine guns in public. Good, who have you helped? I would start with something a little more mundane and make a logical argument for that one particular thing. If your thing is magazine limits, stick to magazine limits. Start off with, well, how many do you think it should be? Or something, you know, a little mundane question. Engage the other person, but don't go from magazine limits to assault rifles to hollow points and then just start hitting them in the head with facts and statistics. No one cares about statistics. That's the other thing. Yeah. If the statistics agree with you, you'll pimp them out all day. If statistics don't agree with you, you'll say, well, I don't care. Yeah, exactly. And the other side's going to do the same thing. Yeah, so one of the most important things that I want to bring out and talk about with our supporters is all the points that you brought up, but we have an environment in New Jersey today where, you know, the people today, they actually truly did want to learn more about the subject matter and the topic, and they just, many of them did not know anything about it, you know, from knowing what an FFL is to what NICS is, you know, which is a National Instant Criminal Check System, to even the fact that you can, you know, that you get a federal background check. You know, I've been in meetings over the past couple of days where people think you just drive out to Pennsylvania and you buy a truckload of machine guns and you bring them out to the city of Newark, and that's how these guns end up on the streets. So you know, I think this was one of the first meetings you attended with us to talk about like the technical issues when it comes to, you know, firearms and so forth. But I mean, personally myself, I felt very optimistic. There's bad leadership out there, which we will address that at a later time. And there's excellent leadership that people have been reaching out to us, wanting to work with the New Jersey Second Amendment Society on crafting better laws, because they do hear your concerns. And that's why it's very important. Reach out to your legislator and talk about things that actually are tangible. Why can't I go? One of the big things we discussed today, and it literally led one of the legislators to scratching her head and saying, wait, I can't go to my friend's house to pick them up with my firearm in the car. I have to go to my home, pick up that individual, then go back home, pick up my firearm, then go back to the range, you know, which emphasizes how insane, A, the gun laws are in New Jersey, and how the opposition actually fights so hard to preserve that. You know, and you were there, you witnessed it firsthand. I did witness it firsthand. Not only was this particular person unaware of what the law required us to do, but there was also a general lack of awareness, and I have to give her credit, even though we're not going to mention names. She was willing to learn, which I think was very good, to the point where things that you and I would take for granted, what's the difference between a magazine and a clip? And I spent a good 30, 40 seconds just explaining to her, this is a clip, this is a magazine, you know, what's the difference between the two of them? One of the things we discussed with this person was collapsible stocks, and she thought that was the same as a bump stock, and I said no, a bump stock does this and a collapsible stock does that, and the two have nothing in common. Yeah, and something we did emphasize is that, you know, these supposed evil features on supposed assault rifles in New Jersey, which is nothing different than just a semi-automatic rifle, those are not actually banned by law. Those are banned by an administrative directive from the New Jersey Attorney General's office.
So when we explained that I have to have a separate rifle for my mother, I have to have a separate rifle for my younger nephews, I have to have a separate rifle for me, and I have to have a separate rifle for, you know, petite women, because you cannot adjust a stock, and we're not talking about making a, you know, a firearm concealable. You can't adjust a stock 3 inches in and out like a telescoping stock on any standard rifle. So, you know, that's the level it was at, to the point where when the way Marcus and I explain it, they literally cannot believe that these are the things that are putting people in jail for over 5 years. And that's the level that we have to start at. So, you know, we have to be very, like, I guess, gentle and very rudimentary when it comes to explaining some of these things. And also to our viewers, as well as our members who are going out, and, you know, and I advocate for people to start developing relationships with their legislators. I personally, we made an internal decision. We're not going to make public, you know, many of the, you know, certain meetings that we're having, because what that does is that literally just creates the roadmap for the anti-gunners and anyone that doesn't believe in the Second Amendment in New Jersey and nationally to now focus their energy in targeting specific individuals.
Countering exactly what we've done.
Exactly. So, you know,
they're like, oh, they went to X, we'll go to X. Tomorrow they're going to Y, and then we'll go to Y.
Yeah.
And it just wastes our time.
And that was exactly one of the things that, you know, some of these legislators explained to us was, you know, we don't need certain groups of people going out and demonizing us just because we do not agree with them. Which is what the opposition and the anti-gunners do, is if you don't agree with them, they start throwing pictures of dead babies and children in your face and saying, this is what you're fighting for, this is what you're advocating for, you want murdered children, you hate women, more women die, blah, 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 blah. And they come out with all these fake facts, they come out with all these ridiculous examples just to paint you.
Fake news.
Fake news, yeah. Just to paint you as a monster. And I'm sure many of you are watching this and seeing how they're doing this today in politics and how the opposition acts. So, you know, I think we like, you have to approach this on, you know, there was a lot of legislators, they're shooters. You'd be very surprised how many of our legislators are actually gun owners. Closet gun owners.
Who have actually said to us off the record, which is another reason we're not mentioning names, yeah, I've shot here and there, or even I own guns, but don't let the people know that, you know, it'll look bad, whatever. Yeah. Which is code for, I won't get reelected if they know.
Exactly. But the, you know, and it's funny, that's how they operate, you know. That's the nature of the beast. There's some that don't care, you know, like Senator Orho from, you know, Sussex County, some of them in space, who's, you know, they've been champions and great leaders for us. Who've done great things for the New Jersey Second Amendment Society and are always our friends. So maybe we can try to, like, start planning like a shooting event where we invite our legislators and so forth. And some have actually expressed an interest in wanting to go to the range and learning more about guns, which only shows to me that this is a battle that we are winning. Nobody sits there and says, I will be safer without having a firearm. You know, and that's kind of the national narrative. What's the largest growing demographic of firearm ownership today? Women, minority groups, and so forth. You're smirking. Like
it happens to be true. I happen to know that because what's funny is, as a kid growing up, I wasn't aware of this, and then once I started getting into the business of guns, guys in my own synagogue come to me, hey, I've got a question for you. I own this, and I want to. You own? I've known you for my entire life. When did you? Well, you know, I wasn't going to tell you when you were a kid. I wasn't going to tell you if I didn't know that you were a gun guy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things I want to emphasize is what does the opposition do? You know, during the holidays especially, what was our campaign? Talk about these issues at the Thanksgiving table, talk about it at the Christmas table, because what they want to do is try to shame you. You know, shame you and silence you. The SS. You know,
that's right out of the Alinsky playbook.
Yeah, that's exactly what they want to do, and that's, like, you know, I think one of the terms that's being used now is gun shaming, to the point where when I was in Florida, shooting fully automatic machine guns with my friends down there, people were messaging me like,
he likes to brag, but yeah,
well, you know, and it was actually very exciting. You know, it was actually a lot of fun. It was very exciting, but you know, I really don't care. And I've actually had our own side, our friends saying like, why would you post those videos? Aren't you scared of blah blah blah? And I'm like, no, I don't care what people think about me. I'm not going to be shamed into silencing something that I truly enjoy.
I happen to think that those people are, like, we are our own worst enemy. Those people are our own worst enemy. Because, you know, to take another issue, and I know a lot of people are on different sides of the fence on this issue, but until there was a gay parade every year, gays couldn't admit it. Now gays are not only admitting it, they're shouting it in your face. So whether you like gays or you hate gays or you're anywhere in between, the point is, they used a strategy that works. They said, we're going to do it whether you like it or not, and we have to come at it from that same attitude.
Yeah, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm very open now with my hobbies, my things that interest me. You know, my firearms, where I'm shooting, what I'm shooting, and so forth. And I think a big thing that we can start to do is kind of try to bring, you know, some of those legislators and people in our community over to, you know, to those activities. Because even this individual today, the meeting that you were sitting in with us, she even said to us, and it is a she, but, you know, she even said to us, 5 years ago, I completely believed these things. Now I'm starting to, you know, come...
Right. She was, you know, in the end zone on the left-hand side of the field. Now she's on the 10 or 20-yard line. Eventually, we don't need to get her into our end zone. But if we can get her to the 50-yard line when she's not voting against us, that's good enough.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, how does this strategy work? You know, I think in one of my other past videos, you could, you know, if you do the math, there's only 5 senators that, let's just say every Democrat votes for some type of gun control and every Republican doesn't, which is, you know, if you look over the years, it does vote typically along party lines. You know, I know 2 Democrat senators on the Senate side that are on our side and have vowed to me that they will never vote for any form of gun control. You know, and if they ever do, trust me, they'll know firsthand, you know, what a mistake that's going to be, because I don't believe in playing patty cake. And, you know, as we've done in the past, we were very effective with our tactics in getting people to change. And you know, many of you know what I'm talking about, and you can go through our website and see our work, but which made national news on many fronts. But if we can convince 3 legislators, let's say all of them are Democrat and so forth, you know, that's a win for us. We can stop things on the Senate. We're getting people writing messages on our Facebook and so forth saying, Murphy, 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 he's going to destroy this, he's going to kill that, blah, 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 blah. Murphy is not a dictator. You know, where you have...
As much as he may want to be.
As much as he would like to be. You have the Assembly and you have the Senate. And both sides have to vote on specific bills, and then it has to go up, you know, well, first of all, it goes to committee, right? We believe in getting things killed way before committee, because as history has shown you, in New Jersey, once things are at committee, I can guarantee you it's too late. You know?
There's something to be said about that. Once it goes to committee, voting becomes public.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to change your mind before you can vote. That way in private, you can tell the other, you know, you, legislator X, can tell legislators Y and Z, hey, we got to fix this bill before it gets out.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you can do it with anonymity.
Yeah, and that's what's actually happened. I mean, I've documented it very well. We do a lot of things, we work directly with legislators, where we've gotten things stopped before it even goes to committee. That's a victory for us. And that's, in my opinion, the best way of doing it. Now we're kind of in a position where they're reaching out to us beforehand, as, you know, like you heard, like, oh yeah, well, send me everything over, or I'll send you anything over. And then some other legislators are saying the same things. And if we don't feel it's a good bill, we're not going to, you know, we're not going to put it up for a vote. So what they usually do is put it up to a vote on the committee, which it gets referred to. And at that point, if it gets voted at committee, it goes either to a full vote in the Senate, and it goes to a full vote on the Assembly side. If both sides vote on it, they get merged and get sent to the governor's office, which today is Governor Murphy.
Where he will sign it, he's already told us that.
And so forth. So there's many opportunities from now to that point to be able to stop bills from ever going into play. So I don't care if it's a 5-round, 10-round, whatever the bills are putting up through and so forth. Like, there's many opportunities, many ways of getting these things killed, stopped before they ever grow any legs. And we've been successful with that before. Right now it's taking it to the next level. We need to be NJ2AS on steroids, so that every gun bill that comes up, the legislators will know that either A, we're going to love them for their work, or we're going to hate them for their work. And if they hate them, then they're going to fear us. And in both cases, we get what we want. So, you know, it doesn't matter. They want to be our friends or they don't want to be our friends. But they're going to understand that if they vote a specific way, there are going to be repercussions. And, you know, that's worked very well in the past. So,
And one other thing that was mentioned by a couple of legislators is they don't get many phone calls on particular issues. From either side, especially with the gun debate. People kind of assume that in Jersey everything is taken care of already. You know, the left is going to win, the right is going to lose.
Yeah.
You know, the anti-gunners won before the game even started. So because of that, there's a certain defeatist attitude on our part, which matches with a certain hubris attitude on their part, so neither side bothers them to call. We don't because we think it's hopeless. They don't because they think they can't lose. Which means that if you do call, and you don't have to have a lot of people, a dozen phone calls is a lot as far as these people are concerned.
10 phone calls usually at the governor's office, from what I'm told, gets a report done for the governor. And something happened about 16, 17 months ago where this specific legislator was pushing legislation. And I've actually formed a good relationship with the guy. We text each other and so forth. But, you know, I remember I texted him when he was trying to propose something. I said, where are you going to be tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.? Because I have 50 women, and they did contact me. I have 50 women that want to speak to you about how you want to infringe on their rights to protect themselves. And, you know, we had a little bit of a narrative after that. And guess what? Nothing ever happened. He dropped it. He never talked about it ever again. You know, and I
just want to clarify for the people at home. When he says nothing ever happened, he means that in a good way, the bill never passed.
Yes, let me clarify that, yeah. They never even, well, not even that it passed, it didn't even go to committee, it wasn't even given a bill number and so forth.
Right, nothing bad ever happened is what he should have said.
You know, and, you know, join up on our email list, become a member, because that's the way we communicate. We have our filters that we can set up in our database. We can reach out to specific women, we can reach out to specific males, you know, specific demographics, what areas of the state you live in. We can even, you know, sort our information so that if you're in District 25 and so forth, we can directly reach out to you and say, hey, do you know your legislator is doing this? Can you contact him on his or her behalf and try to talk about this issue? And you know, that's actually worked plenty of times, because reaching out to these people, you'd be very surprised. Many of them, oh, this guy, yeah, he comes to my bagel shop every morning. You want me to talk to him for you? One individual owns a very popular pizzeria in northern New Jersey that a specific legislator goes to for dinner. And I ended up going there and seeing him for dinner. He ends up being friends with the owner. And I said, listen, talk to this guy. Tell him that what his laws were going to put him and his constituents, along with you and me, in jail for something ridiculous. But in any case, we kind of wanted to make this quick video, talk about our activism over the past couple days. It's actually been 2 full days of meetings, meeting with legislators and so forth, chiefs of staff, building up good relationships. I'm confident that with your support, with your help, we can stop all these things from happening. You know, we don't have to live in fear that overnight you and I are going to become like felons. So NJ2AS.org, go visit the website, look at our work, become a member, become a donor, sign up, make sure your information is correct on our database so that if we need to reach out to you for help and to, you know, how to get involved, we have your correct address, your phone number, your cell phone, because we could call, we could send you an email and so forth to take it from there.
I want to thank Alexander. I just want to point out for the folks at home, we are definitely getting a lot of work done. The one thing that we won't do as often as we used to, and definitely going forward, is we don't want to give out the names of the people we spoke to, because that tends to undo everything. Once you say, oh, you know, Senator so-and-so or Assemblyman so-and-so did this, they're gonna, you know, whoa, I never said that, and then you cause them to balk. Politicians will do one thing behind closed doors that they won't do in open, and then they'll do something else in open that they wouldn't do behind closed doors. So I know it's a serious issue in the entire 2A community, especially here in Jersey, but there is a little trust that's required, and it's hard, especially, I'm guilty of it as anyone. It is a little hard to trust what's going on behind the scenes, but you do kind of have to take our word for it. Yeah, absolutely. And like anyways, I always document everything that we do, because you know, you're never gonna know when you're gonna need that information. And you know, case in point, you know, a couple months ago when they were talking about national reciprocity, look how the anti-gunners were literally going to legislators' office and protesting and doing this and doing that, and you know, disrupting every possible way of life for these individuals that wanted to support national reciprocity. So you know, that's what we're dealing with. I mean, look how today we're getting, you know, they're burning down cities. They're, you know, causing traffic jams. They're stopping traffic. You know, all these disruptive behaviors that the opposition is engaging in because they're not getting their way. It's like, you know, dealing with children, if not worse.
And you know, but we want to get your involvement in, you know, NJ2AS.org. You know, visit us, check us out, look at all the work that we're doing. You know, we need your support. It's going to be a crazy couple of years, at minimum, a crazy 4 years. But I'm confident that we can stop many of the things that are happening. You know, we keep building good relationships. We're being talked about, which is good, because when your friends and your enemies are talking about you, then you know you're being effective.
So buy a membership. If you're already a membership, consider upgrading to a life membership. If you want to troll your liberal neighbor, buy them a membership.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. Have a good night.